Hello, and welcome back to the insane, right-wing, fascistic, conservative, red state ramblings of me. In my last video, in which I advocated for things like taking care of the poor, providing shelter, health care, and so forth, I was accused of being paid by... Let's just read the comment. And I know I'm not supposed to respond to assholes who say stupid shit in my comment thread, but sometimes it makes for good content. At least it provides me something to talk about today. So a commenter wrote, "Eric, we are now leaning into pure conservative grift and propaganda, huh? That lately that word grift is just tossed around so unbelievably regularly. Grift implies a very specific thing. Okay, grift implies that you are running some sort of scam, right? You're trying to trick people into giving you their money, which very few people give me their money. Maybe someday more people will, and that will be great, and hopefully I will provide for them a service that they feel is worth paying for. Your political leanings don't make it a grift. If you're right wing, you're left wing, you're moderate, you're Marxist, doesn't make you a grifter. A grift implies that you're tricking people, right? For instance, certain religious organizations are running grifts when they say that if you send them your money, that it will be seed money that will grow and provide you wealth by just sending it to this preacher who then goes and buys $1 million jet. Now, if you're telling people that they're going to make money if you send them money and it's a pyramid scheme or whatever else, that's a grift, right? You're pulling one over on them. Propaganda is when you are in some position of power, and typically power, or you're working with in some position of power with people in power to provide false information in order to again trick people. These are all both tricking people things, right? Me discussing Roald Dahl and people rewriting Roald Dahl is neither a propaganda nor a grift. It is an opinion that I hold, and you are free to disagree with it or to agree with it, and we can have a conversation. But if you start accusing people of grift and propaganda simply because you disagree with them, let alone accusing them of being conservative, which I am not, it's just, that's not a conversation. This is not a conversation. It's just accusations that actually don't even make sense. So, Eric, we are now leaning into pure conservative grift and propaganda, huh? How much did Murdoch or the Daily Wire pay you? I'm curious. I'm missing the check from Murdoch, and the Daily Wire only pays me in, I guess, do they pay people in liberal tiers or something these days? No, again, I'm not paid by either one of those organizations. I am paid by Forbes, where I write, but not for my YouTube videos. My YouTube videos make virtually no money. Though hopefully someday, when I have a larger audience, and maybe a thriving Patreon or something, I can grift y'all into paying me some money. But no, sadly, Murdoch and the Daily Wire are not paying me to talk about Roald Dahl or to promote socialistic ideas like free health care for everyone. Wild, I know. Or alternatively, I'm now waiting for a video where you talk about actual Orwellian or totalitarian actions done by actual political parties, like the banning of books and people to speak out about whatever they want in Florida, just as a small example off the top of my mind. Or is the woke left the only problem that exists now? Are you going to talk about the globalist cabal next? As anyone who has watched any number of my videos knows, I often dance around the phrase woke in the first place, because I think it's been, I've made whole videos about how that word has been almost rendered meaningless at this point, because it's used by so many on the right to describe anything and everything remotely liberal whatsoever. So you had Ted Cruz calling Microsoft woke because they have a default power setting on the Xbox. It means nothing now. When I talk about the woke left, I'm being very specific about a certain mentality on the left, a certain cadre of people on the left who are very, very laser focused on gender studies and anti-racism and things like that. Often who held beliefs in censorship and things like that. Whereas I am a member of the left who believes in free speech and generally is very concerned with things like censorship and so forth. Now, as to actual political parties, so I think that the emphasis here on actual is implying that there's only censorship done by the state. But censorship can take place in many, many forms. It can happen even within a household. But generally speaking, any large organization is capable of censorship. Certainly state censorship is the worst. But the Roald Dahl stuff, that to me indicates a drift away from artistic freedom that's worrisome. Because when private, often private, I mean, think about it. A private corporation and all the laws around copyright and everything else are all built based on laws created by the state. The very existence of corporations is statist, essentially, right? This is why I say that works that are in the public sphere, right, that are no longer under copyright, are by far the freest, right? Because I could go back and rewrite a Shakespeare play, and you could rewrite it also. We could each make our own version of Hamlet, and it doesn't matter because Hamlet is Hamlet. Nobody has the rights to it anymore to say what's the official version. Anyone can publish it, right? The difference here is that with Roald Dahl, only Puffin Books can publish it. Or you can publish an unauthorized version, right? But that's illegal. So what they say goes. Whereas a work that's outside of copyright, it's in some ways it's protected even more because fundamentally you have the original version that can never be changed, and anyone can make changes to it and publish it however they want. I'm not maybe expressing that as well as I could be, but there's a whole nother discussion to be had about copyright here. But in terms of like books that are being banned in Florida, specifically from Floridian schools, yeah, that's a topic I should absolutely talk about. I think it was HB 1467, which went into effect in July, has done a lot of things. It's a very reactionary bill against some stuff that was being taught that was like, the anti-racist stuff, the critical race theory stuff. And of course, conservatives being conservatives, especially this particular brand. I mean, some conservatives are very, very pro-free speech, certainly of the libertarian bent, but a lot of conservatives have been behind book banning on religious grounds for a long time, or on other grounds, right? And here we have books like The Color Purple and The Handmaid's Tale, among many others, being banned from schools because of their content on race and sexism and all that. And I think this is a terrible overreach and a violation of our free speech protections. I realize it's in schools, so it's not like they're banning it from anybody. You can still go to a bookstore, the kids can still go home and read it. But these are books that should be readily available in every school. I mean, like The Handmaid's Tale probably shouldn't be available in an elementary school, but it should certainly be available for high schoolers. And that's just more of an age appropriate thing. I frankly, if it's not pornographic, there should be no reason to ban it from schools. If it's not pornographic, or maybe like if it's teaching you how to build bombs or something like the Anarchist Cookbook, I can see why you wouldn't want that in your school. So yeah, no, this is a horrible, horrible state overreach by the Republicans in Florida and Texas and elsewhere yeah, I think that there's been some kooky examples of teachers who are trying to teach their kids ridiculous critical race theory stuff. I don't think critical race theory is something for the academy, right? You want to go study this stuff in college, by all means. But it's not the same thing as learning about the history of racism, slavery, and whatnot, like The Color Purple or a number of these other books. Oh my gosh, what was I thinking? It's okay. Sorry, Beloved. I for some reason I kept thinking of a G word, but Toni Morrison's Beloved, which is a really screwed up book, man. Holy crap. I'm sure that's been banned. I don't know, but these are important books to read because they talk about the experience of slaves in this country. It's a horrible, horrible history of racism and tyranny and anti-freedom. So, I mean, there's tons of books that have been banned in different counties. I mean, I'm just going through this list here. There's Fry Bread, a Native American family story, has been banned, which just is crazy. I mean, a lot of these, I don't know. Wait, the Berenstain Bears and the Big Question, that's been banned. What? a lot of this stuff, of course, deals with like maybe gay couples or different racial histories. But again, I think that first of all, I think that schools should not be bound by ridiculous statist laws about what books can be there. But parents should be allowed to still choose what their kids can and cannot read. So if you're going to read The Color Purple in your English class and your parents are like, no, you can't do that. Well, shame on your parents because that's ridiculous. But it's also their call. If you're a minor, you're still under your parents' roof, they should have the right to do that. But the government shouldn't be able to come in and make it and ban the books for everybody else. Now, even if 99% of the parents at this school don't want you to read My Name is Sally Little Song or I guess another Sally book, Sally and the Magical Sneeze. I don't even know what these books are. Thunder Rose, Thunder Boy Jr., Totem Tale, whatever. Even if every parent in the building doesn't want those books read, those books should still be allowed to be in the schools, because that's what free speech and freedom of expression and the freedom of freedom of thought, intellectual freedom, that's what it's all about. The ability to access this stuff. Kids should be able to access books at their schools. But if it's part of the curriculum and their parents don't want them to read it, that's up to the parents. You're a minor. That's it. I think that also teachers and administrators should be cognizant of what they're teaching, because you don't necessarily want to be unnecessarily controversial or introduce young children to things that are maybe too advanced for them to learn, like math. I don't think we need to teach math until way later, like high school. But aside from that, like gender stuff, I don't think we need to teach kindergartners that boys can be girls and girls can be boys yet. They can learn that as they get older. I don't think they need to learn anything about gender at all when they're young. They can just read like picture books and stuff. And like age appropriateness is okay. Like we shouldn't introduce kids in elementary school to all these ideas that they can't possibly wrap their brains around. So have a little bit of class here and a little bit of judgment. But yeah, banning books, I don't care which party's doing it. It's not okay. I don't care if it's just from schools. It's not okay. I mean, they come from the schools, right? And then they start banning them from the public libraries. And it's all, I know slippery slope arguments are passé or whatever, but there are certain slippery slopes that are worrisome. And again, I think this is all part of the same topic. Same thing about rewriting Roald Dahl. On one side, you have people who are offended by critical race theory, whatever the fuck that is. Nobody really actually discusses what that is, but some people are very offended by it and very outraged, and other people are offended by whatever, the word fat and the word ugly in Roald Dahl books. And it's not right. None of it is right to do. It's not right to ban books. It is not right to rewrite authors' books who are dead and cannot have a part in that process. And yeah, a lot of it is motivated, on the one hand by capitalism, by people wanting to make money, right? They read the writing on the wall. I mentioned this before, and they say, well, these books are going to be offensive. We don't want to offend people. We better change them so that they're more palatable and we can sell more copies and make better adaptations or whatever. And then on the other side, it's political motivation, right? We gotta throw that red meat to the base. We gotta get people riled up so they vote for us, so that we have power. It's power. On both sides, it's power and money. Power and money always takes precedent over truth and freedom. So, yeah, that is what I have to say about that. Yeah, fuck all the bozos. Anyways, thanks for watching. If you like this particular grift I'm running, please do like and subscribe to my channel. Hit the notification bell. The point is that we don't we should stop subscribing to these parties and these ideologies that are always constantly telling us what to do, or telling us that we have to be this and this and this to belong to this particular thing. Like, if you want to be a libertarian, you can't believe in this. And if you want to be a socialist, you have to believe in this. And like, maybe all this shit is wrong. Maybe we should be free thinkers. Maybe we should make up our own minds. Maybe we aren't ever going to be properly boxed into something, because that's not how you should live. You shouldn't live in a cage, physically or spiritually or intellectually. And I'm just tired of it. So, yeah. Peace.